Before we jump in, here's a quick welcome. If you're new here, this channel takes the most complex ideas in tech, finance, and science and breaks them down into something simple, clear, and actually interesting to learn. No jargon, no fluff, just the real story behind how things work. So if you've ever wondered how Bitcoin really functions behind the scenes, or what blockchain actually does beyond the buzzwords, you're in the right place. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoy explanations that make the complicated feel obvious. All right, let's get started. Let me start with a simple question. How can thousands of people who don't know each other, don't trust each other, and may even live on opposite sides of the world, all agree on a single version of the truth? That question has puzzled humans for centuries. And yet somehow Bitcoin solved it in 2009 without banks, without governments, and without anyone being in charge. And the key to this magic trick is something you've definitely heard of, but maybe never fully understood: the blockchain. Today, we're going to break down blockchain and how Bitcoin actually works in the simplest, clearest way possible. No hype, no jargon, just the real mechanics behind one of the biggest inventions of this century. Let's start with the core problem Bitcoin wanted to solve: trust. Imagine you and two friends are betting on a game. Nobody trusts anyone else to record the score, because whoever writes it down could cheat. So what do? One solution is to give the sheet to an authority like a referee. But what if you don't want a referee? What if you want a system where the three of you can keep track of the truth without relying on a middleman? This is exactly the problem a blockchain solves. So what is a blockchain? At its heart, it's just a special kind of public logbook, a shared notebook that everyone has a copy of. It's digital, it's global, and no one person controls it. Whenever someone adds a new page to this notebook, everyone else gets a copy of that same page. And once a page is added, you can't erase it, you can't rewrite it, and you can't sneakily change the past. The notebook only grows forward. Let's break that down even further. In a blockchain, each page of the notebook is called a block. Every block contains a list of transactions, a unique fingerprint called a hash, and the hash of the previous block. That last part is crucial because linking to the previous block's fingerprint is what forms the chain. It's like saying this page confirms that the last page is exactly what it says it is. And if even one letter changes on that last page, the fingerprint changes entirely. Think of a hash like a magical stamp. You feed all the data from the block into a special formula, and out comes a long, unique code. Change one tiny detail, even a comma, and you get a completely different code. So if someone tries to modify a transaction in an old block, all the stamps break every block after it becomes invalid, and everyone on the network immediately sees that someone tried to tamper with history. And because everyone has their own copy of the blockchain, you would have to change not just one version, but tens of thousands of versions simultaneously. That's practically impossible. This is how blockchain protects the past. But a natural question comes up here. If the blockchain is a shared notebook, then who writes the new pages? Who decides which transactions are real and gets to add them to the next block? That job belongs to miners. Think of miners as bookkeepers, competing for the right to add the next page. They gather up recent transactions, waiting to be confirmed, bundle them into a new block, and then face a challenge. And it's not a normal challenge like solving a math puzzle. It's more like a giant global lottery, where your chance of winning depends on how much computing power you have. This is called proof of work. And here's the simplest way to understand it. Imagine someone tells you, find a number that starts with 4 zeros. You can't calculate it directly. You can't guess cleverly. You can only try numbers one by one. Computers doing proof of work are doing exactly that. They're guessing millions of numbers per second, looking for one that fits the rules. The first miner who finds it earns the right to add their block to the blockchain. In return, the miner gets rewarded with newly created Bitcoin. And that's how Bitcoin enters circulation. Proof of work does two important things. First, it makes attacking the network extremely expensive. If you want to cheat, you need enormous computing power, more than the rest of the honest network combined. Second, it keeps new Bitcoins scarce. Because the reward comes slowly and requires real-world energy and computation, Bitcoin can't be printed freely like normal money. Now let's talk about why Bitcoin doesn't need a bank. In the traditional financial world, your bank keeps the ledger that tracks how much money you have and what transactions you make. With Bitcoin, the ledger is the blockchain, and everyone has a copy of it. No single institution controls it. No one can freeze your account. No one can reverse your payments. And no one can take your money without your permission. It's a system built on mathematics, not trust. So how does your Bitcoin wallet fit into all of this? Here's something people often misunderstand. A Bitcoin wallet doesn't actually store Bitcoin. The blockchain stores the Bitcoin. Your wallet simply holds the keys you need to access it. There's a public key, which is your address, like your bank account number that anyone can send money to. And there's a private key, which is your password and signature. If someone has your private key, they have your Bitcoin. Lose the private key, and your Bitcoin is gone forever. There is no password reset, no support hotline, no headquarters to call. Your private key is everything. To send Bitcoin, your wallet uses this private key to cryptographically sign a message saying, "I approve sending these coins to this address." Miners verify the signature, confirm it's valid, include your transaction in a block, and once that block is added to the chain, the entire world updates their copy. That's how ownership of Bitcoin is transferred securely without any bank. But like any technology, blockchain has limitations. Bitcoin transactions aren't as fast as Visa or MasterCard. Proof of work consumes a lot of electricity. Fees can get high when the network is crowded. And block size limits how many transactions can fit into a block. However, despite these drawbacks, blockchain introduced something revolutionary: a way for strangers around the world to agree on a shared truth without relying on a central authority. And that breakthrough opened the door to far more than digital money. Blockchains have inspired smart contracts, decentralized finance, NFTs, digital identity systems, and whole new ways of coordinating people and resources online. Whether or not Bitcoin becomes global money, the idea behind it has already changed how we think about trust in the digital world. So let's wrap this up with the big picture. Bitcoin works because the blockchain is a self-verifying, tamper-resistant history book. Every block strengthens the ones before it. Every miner contributes to the network's security. And every user depends on cryptography instead of trust. Money, which for thousands of years required rulers, banks, or institutions to maintain, can now be managed by math code and an open network of participants. Bitcoin isn't just digital money. It's a new way to create honesty among people who don't know each other. And blockchain is the tool that made it possible. If you want a follow-up video explaining how mining actually works at the hardware level, or a simple breakdown of private keys wallets and self-custody, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching Stay Curious, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for sticking around, and I hope this gave you a clear understanding of how blockchain truly works and why Bitcoin was such a groundbreaking idea. If you want me to cover topics like how mining hardware works, how private keys and wallets actually function, or the differences between Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, just let me know in the comments. I read every suggestion. If you found this helpful, consider leaving a like. It's one of the best ways to support the channel. And if you're new here, hit subscribe for more simple, powerful explanations just like this. Thanks again for watching. Stay curious, stay informed, and I'll see you in the next video.